So I made 2 videos, right? And the second one, I watched again, and I watched them both, and even in that first one, I think I used the term infinity sign instead of yin yang sign, and I think I said etymology of pain when I meant to say etymology of bad. And anyway, so the second video I watched it, and I realized I'm so wanting to stuff so many topics into one video. It's almost like I'm trying to stuff a drawer full of clothes, and because I don't want to make like video after video after video in this mass reiterative style that is like the Gary style. Like, I would rather do something else with my life in some of my spare time than sit here and try to nail down and reiterate the same things, that life is an imposition that was imposed on me, instead of pointing to that, like, instead of just saying I have life, it's life is an imposition. Like, that's such an unnecessary word, or the unnecessary pain, right? Because you can mitigate it by not having a machine, not having one of these need machines, right? Where you have the tautological need machine, like I mentioned in the last video, right? So anyway, I feel like I'm cramming topics too quickly together. So I think what I want to do on this one is kind of just slow my pace down and see whether or not I can. It's kind of like Trick said. Trick doesn't make videos because his oratory skills are bad. And I realize I don't have great oratory skills because I'm topic chasing constantly. But I guess what I'm getting at is kind of the notion that antinatalists, it's kind of like the theory of relativity. Is it the law of relativity now, or is it because we're testing it, because we have things that concern it? And maybe we could, as a people or a scientific community, could change it to the law of relativity. It's the new paradigm. It's how it's accepted, right? So antinatalists are working with a philosophy, and they use Benatar. Benatar created a logic where you, in order to get to the conclusion, you have to accept the premises. Well, I reject the premises, first of all. I actually thought that if I accepted conference reports' attempt at making tautological the pain is bad, bad is pain argument, instead of looking at the exceptions to the word pain, instead of looking at pain as a value ideologic word that can imply weaker or some sort of deficient or something that is at the root of comparative ethic, right? Instead of stating it as the case, like accepting it as the case, because it for me, the is and as, the is and all of its derivative words, that's the problem. Is First we outline something. I eat a pepper and I go, oh, it's a good tasting pepper, but it's very hot. And then Trick comes in and we kind of try to fetter out, well, the hot is bad. And I'm like, well, is the hot bad when I'm wishing it away? I mean, can I, kind of like when I first drank coffee, it didn't taste good. I wasn't wanting it. And then I adapted my tastes. And I realized there is this concomitant milieu of sensations that's ripping through my body, and then there's my descriptive adjectives that are applied on it. So to what extent do I outline and talk about my experience, right? Just my experience, not even to embolden the outline and call life and say life sucks or life is suffering or unnecessary, like the outline becomes the noun operation from which to make the verb. The cat runs, right? The cat is an animal, 2 nouns, right? Pain is bad. In that case, the bad, those are 2 nouns, right? But what I'm noticing is the noun-verb operation. Once the noun-noun operations are established, what are how are the words used? Now, this kind of comes down to a semantic argument where I was having it back and forth with Trick, and it came down where he wants to, in how I read it is he wanted to get down to the very nature of pain, to make pain a static state which necessarily has a direct overlay of pain on top of it, right? And I think in my last video I showed that, you know, that I don't think that bad is pain, in that the traditional use is to try to insert pain as a subset of bad. But that I don't even accept that, because this is an adjective placement. Now, I'm being accused of being semantic, right, when I don't think that the application of a value word ever, pain is bad, life sucks, whatever the application is not a use of syntax or semantics or phonate or the grapheme in language. Like it's always still the language that's being utilized here, right? But so Jay, or not Jay, but Trick and I, we got into this point where he was trying to say, no, the hot of the pepper is bad once you reject it. The state of the pain that is being experienced at that point, that's the nature of it. That's the nature of pain, and that's the base of the ethic. And I'm like, but everything's in verbose form. You're starting out by saying, this is the outline. We're going to overlay an exact other outline upon it, and then we're going to make the ethic, the verb, away from that. And I'm like, okay, well, but this is comparative, right? Like when I was a child, if I didn't get my pacifier, I might start crying, or my sucker, I might start crying. Then what? Then it's stubbing a toe, and then it's breaking bones, that's breaking my finger, then my this, then my spine again, then my feet again. It's like, to what extent is the previous pain comparative to the next pain? Like, oh, that family, the Joneses, keeping up with the Joneses. The Joneses have a color TV, and we still just have the telegraph, dear. Boy, we got to keep up. Oh, and now in the modern day, it's like, shit, they got smartphones and the laptop with the air cards, and we just have this shitty desktop PC with the DSL plug-in, dear. Oh, they got the big screen, we got the little screen. You know, it's like, these are comparison notions, and I keep thinking the antinatalists are really, I keep saying it's just poor psychology. They're waking up, and I would hate to wake up. And by the way, when I was saying I was thinking those things in the hospital, I was thinking those things, but I was basically thinking, I am so happy to be alive. Regardless of all of this that's going on, I am alive, and that meant something to me. Like, that was what I wanted. Right? I wanted that, right? And because that was the beauty. I didn't want the collapse. And I think that Gary's vitality, another antinatalist vitality, is in question. And if not, I'm like, oh, maybe Morph's daughter could give birth to his grandchild. He's already got genes in the pool, and just come over and, hey, Grandpa, and bust the child's head off, and then blow her brains out and fall forward on him and spatter blood in some massive horror show, so he could go, yep, I feel like suffering's, yep, that's, life sucks, and he could verify it through this huge accident of having, I guess, a daughter, I don't know. And then Gary saying, I am finally getting this virtue ethic in me. Here I go changing topics again, right? But Gary saying, like, maybe I could, for the sake of truth, I could get kind of that medieval ethic and kill someone. And I sat there and I thought, maybe I should go head to head with Gary, and then he could kill me because I'm so into suffering as a sadist, I guess. And then he could violate, he could cause suffering outward, purposefully violating his ethic, killing and causing suffering, and I could embrace kind of the non-fear of the pain, right? And just say, well, that's the end of my life. Of course I would guard my life, but what I'm getting at is it would be interesting to see Gary use a virtue, some idyllic virtue, in order to violate what it is he thinks he's standing for. Okay, but anyway, so there's this notion of comparative ethics. First of all, you have to state something in a sentence. You know, like even my sentence, you have to state something in a sentence in order to do something else. It's like every sentence seems as if it's got its noun and its verb, its subject and its object, and so forth. And it appears that ethics are brought along the same way. First, you have to have a grounding, a statement that is a split in saying pain is bad, and now we're going to try to eliminate the bad pain where it overlays, right? First deal with the symptoms, and then move out there. And my thoughts are, a lot of ethics is comparative, kind of like the alchemist, like, oh, you need to be bloodlet, and we must take this rabbit fur and put it on your bloody skull in order for you to live longer. And even though if it doesn't actually scientifically have any good, the intent of it doing good somehow fulfills the ethic, right? Because there was this argument of the idea of ethics, and I kept thinking, God, how to put this? This is so weird. I hate being under this time constraint, but and normally I would be doing videos, like I would record them on my computer and then edit them so I can get to my point and cut out all this crap. It's just that my computer is so full, so now I'm like, okay, now I have to just make videos, and then I topic chase and I'm all over the map. But so I guess what I'm saying is that the first outline static state has to be agreed upon in order to have the remainder of the ethical operation. And so much of getting onto that same state about what's acceptable or not acceptable, or what's attempted to be removed from, appears as if it's based on some form of comparison, some other environment. And I think the antinatalist, akin to the nihilists in terms of indifference, instead of indifference, it's that everything's negative. Oh, woe is me, 3 days without internet. Oh, woe is me, the crickets are attacking. Oh, woe is me, life sucks. Waking up, oh, I'm so alone. Oh, the world's against me. It's like, oh, okay, so if you woke up and you had 5 children and there was a bounty of food around you that would last the next 100 years and you could feed them, life would be great comparatively to now, where you drudgingly have to go and slave away for money in order to feed this unnecessary need machine, right? It's like, God, the comparison of life circumstance allows people's depression and their psychological tendency to formulate into a strict kind of a logical statement that they would like then to make an ethic and call it truth, instead of seeing that this is a comparative ethic, right? That the circumstances amongst us are so incredibly varied, and that we make comparisons and then try to use those comparisons in order to find a truth, this notion of an objective truth, something that can't be fettered out. You can't have any surprises, right? That the mere fact that the antinatalists wars for their position, they block people that insult their position, is a symptom of a defensive, inclusive pointing and reiterating a truth, and it's it's cult-like. Okay, what the hell? What have I said? Anything? Have I added anything? I doubt it. Okay, whatever. Coffee time, playtime. Oh yeah, shlockofgod. Love your moral approach towards the argument instead of my deconstructive, logical, ethical, comparative approach. I think you're fat.
stupid stuff.